Slatter here with GTA Sports with another exclusive Heat Check 1-on-1. My baby brother, Walter Thomas III. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great by myself.
Hey, I can't complain. But if you haven't already, make sure you follow us. GTA Sports Network, GTASportsNet.com, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Like the page, subscribe to the YouTube channel, GTA Sports Network. I want you to know where we can find you at.
Man, some professional stuff with it. Alright, so you can find me on Instagram at WalterThomas45. Twitter at SHOWTIME_45, and you can also find me on Facebook, whether you want to friend me and/or my fan page.
There you go.
It's Walter Thomas III /WT3 Racing.
All right, so first and foremost, congratulations. You're officially Winston-Salem State University alumni. Love how I feel, man. Tell me about the journey.
Man, it's been a crazy journey. You've been along the ride with me, watching and also being a part of it. Man, that was a quick 4 years. It really was. This was a quick 4 years.
Man, college is the best time of your life, man.
It was,
goes so fast.
I can't believe how fast it went. Between the amount of people that I've had along the way help me,
right?
Whether it was here in Indy or North Carolina, I've gained so many extra brothers and sisters, mothers. I at least got about 6-7 mothers now.
Absolutely, man. With your major, you can let them know, of course, what your major was, and how you feel you might have impacted the future upcoming classes at Winston-Salem.
Yes, I majored in motorsports management.
Okay.
Which basically it's geared toward learning the business side and aspect of motorsports. So from management, sponsorship, facility management. If you want to, go into the business of running a team, anything just with that managerial role.
Gotcha.
It's mainly focused towards that. And of course, I've been racing the majority of my life, and I do plan on owning my own team here in the near future. So this is something I definitely wanted to pursue. As far as leaving my mark,
okay.
I feel like I definitely helped with the growth of it in a sense, as far as putting it on the map. Because unfortunately, even at the school, there's a lot of people, administrative wise too, that don't even know this major exists.
Wow.
And it's unfortunate. So I'm glad I was able to help, shine a light on it, and be more of a face/spokesperson. Of course, I couldn't do it by myself. So my professor, Dr. Harshaw, Clay Harshaw, was a big force behind getting me those interviews, getting those articles out there. Also, Jay Davis, he was over. I forget his actual title, but whenever newscasters or people were wanting to interview us, they went through him, and he would always want to shine a light on us. So I appreciate Jay a lot. Also,
salute to Jay.
Yeah, Jay Davis, you are the man. I'm mad that you will not be back at Winston-Salem, but
man.
I know you gotta grow and you gotta do your own thing. But I really do appreciate you for everything that you did for us.
Love.
Of course, my boys who also graduated with me, Taquan Brown and Jarvis Canty. Love y'all boys. I cannot wait to see what we do. So yeah, I'm really happy and glad to see that this motorsports program is really, catching some wind.
Just, of course, out of curiosity, can you let the world know how the COVID-19 impacted not only your senior year, but also the program that you were in, which is motorsports management at Winston-Salem? How was your last semester with COVID kind of just coming in and throwing a curveball at you?
Man, about 75% of it was good. You figure this is the last stretch, me being a senior, so we're, all of us seniors are in our internships at different places. I was fortunate to have an internship with Rev Racing, NASCAR University's race team.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Do some work with them. So I was, geared up and happy to be a part, and doing something different with those guys. And out of nowhere, it was, you work from the house, and you're not doing any work because, mainly the stuff that we were putting together involved big gatherings, and, something like this, you can't have big gatherings. So it was definitely a curveball for the whole world, just not the sports of, or the you know, the motorsports world, or just sports in general. There's nothing ever, you know, in history that I can think of that stopped everything.
The world definitely
stopped everything.
Absolutely. So would you say, is it safe to say that did you get enough time to reflect, kind of reset, and possibly be able to re-engage yourself into what you consider your career? Do you feel like anything changed in that time frame that you got to take away from actually racing?
No. I will say within really the overall 4 years of me being in college, it's definitely opened my eyes up to, you know, not only wanting to drive, but as I mentioned before, wanting to own my own race team. And
you hear that? Ownership.
Gotta have ownership.
Gotta have ownership.
But also, of course, pursue other things. When I was in college, you know, I have to speak in past tense now. I like to perform. I'm an entertainer at the end of the day. I like.
This is true.
I like to dance. I like to be. I guess
you took my next question. Fun facts about Wall Street. I did not know about.
I guess it's the Leo in me, but I kind of like being the center of attention. I'm not gonna lie. At times, I love having the spotlight on me. Not to sound, you know, like my head's too big and or full of myself, but I just like entertaining and giving people a good time.
That being said, with entertainment, we mentioned a little bit about NASCAR. For those who don't know you, can you kind of give them a quick background and let them know that you're not, little people know you're not the first generation driver in your family? You kind of break that down for them?
I have to break it down. So, I know my granddad's going to kill me if I don't. That's part of the but
we got you, granddad.
My great-grandfather was the one who, quote unquote, you know, planted the seed into my grandfather and gave him that bug to really want to go fast. Introduced him to drag racing at an early age. It had to be like early 60s or so.
Okay.
And my grandfather was actually the first one to pursue a career in racing, and he did some racing of his own. And also, just like his father did to him, he put the racing bug in the dad. And my father, by far, probably, you know, took it to heights that I'd never seen before.
Right.
And with him building his own race car and drag racing for...
We're definitely getting into that.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
Dad raced probably from 99 until 2010, 2011-ish. Yeah, about 2011-ish. So yeah, then of course with me, I mean, I guess at that point it was destined. So you could say I'm three generations deep as far as actual drivers. So this is something that it just wasn't thought of like, oh, let's go racing. This is like a family. This is a family.
This is a family tradition. I understand. Somebody, you in the number 3, third generation. Third's
a charm, man.
Three times a charm. All right. So you mentioned that did you mention to them what type of racing your grandfather and your father did? Come break it down for me.
Go ahead. My grandfather and father both drag raced. For people who don't know what drag racing is, it is when 2 or more cars are going down a track parallel, just, you know,
straight shot.
Basically, whoever gets to the finish line first is the winner, declared the winner.
Right.
I say 2 or more because there are also racetracks that have 4 wides, just compared to 2 cars going in the track. So there's that.
Okay. So of course you want to let them know how do you feel your transition was coming from a drag racing family into going into circles? Because most people know you for going in circles. So can you break down what that transition was like, going parallel, straight shot, you know, first car across the line wins, to having to do heat checks and laps? Can you kind of break down that transition for me?
I'd be happy to. So when I started out racing, when I got my first taste, I was 4 years old.
Okay.
Got my feet wet, quarter midgets, which it wasn't drag racing, but I was just happy to be out there.
If I remember correctly, they had to get you off the track. I don't remember you wanted to get on the brakes at all.
I did. I remember that day. Like I said, we were at a small track called Mini Indy. This had to be around like 2003, 2002. I think I was like 4-1-5 around that time.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, they like had to like wave me down on the track. There were like people like running on the track.
Yeah. Word of advice, parents: if you have a 4 or 5-year-old, if once you get them in a car, understand what you're signing yourself up for. Because I tell you right now, being there that particular day, he has never wanted to get out of a car since.
No.
Me having boys myself, I feel like I'm seeing it all over dealing with my kids. So I understand.
Yeah, it's weird.
They're definitely grafting on it. So again, was the transition hard for you to go from? Because you did do junior drag racing.
Right.
I think we got to get to a little bit of that. So talk about that.
Junior dragsters, of course, that was really where I wanted to go because, man, at my heart, or where my heart is, I'm a drag racer. Like I mentioned before, with my grandfather and father, those are my first memories of life, of being at the racetrack with my dad. So this is really all I've ever wanted to do. So getting the junior dragster was like a dream come true. Being able to go to Muncie and race up there, then going to IRP, Indianapolis Raceway Park, or Lucas Oil Raceway Park now.
Okay.
That was a dream come true at like 12. Being able to race there just because I knew my dad raced here, John Forrest raced here, Don Perdone, everybody that I could possibly think of, Kenny Bernstein, all these legends, and this track that place is sacred grounds to me. So being able to race there, I believe with the Buffalo Soldiers in 2010, that was a dream come true. Yeah, that was a dream come true. And then having the whole family out there was huge. But as far as like getting me into circle track and everything else, I hated NASCAR at that time of my life. I did not like NASCAR.
Trust NASCAR, if you're watching this, he's mature. He's grown now. This is a kid, a 12-year-old talking about it now. I'm sure he feels a little different than that.
I'm different now, but yeah, I hated NASCAR. I did. I really did. Just because it was like, why are these races so long to turn left? I was like everybody else, this turn left is in circles, it's long, it's like 3 or 4 hours, just constant, just noise. And, drag racing, straight on the track, that's it. You're done, come back for a couple rounds, and that's about it. So making that transition, it was definitely, what's crazy is, now on the subject of that, I'm sure you've heard of the butterfly effect.
Right.
I honestly got to thinking about it, talking to one of my friends. I really have to thank the late great Reggie White for getting me into racing, or to circle track racing.
Wow.
Yeah, so drop some knowledge.
Okay, break it down for me.
The late Reggie White was an NFL player, big time in the 90s and I want to say early 2000s. I can't remember when he retired, but he originally was wanting to, him and some partners were wanting to get into auto racing. And those are the people Reggie White's the one who actually brought Max into the whole ordeal.
Oh, wow.
Of owning a team. And unfortunately, Reggie White passed away before.
Not to cut you off.
Yeah.
I don't think they know who Max is. I know.
Yeah, at the time, unfortunately, Reggie White couldn't be a part of the team, and Max Siegel, who at the time he was still a huge, probably one of the biggest gospel producers. So he's worked with your Kirk Franklins, your Mary Marys, anybody really who's in gospel. Yolanda Adams, anybody from the 90s and early 2000s. He's probably he has a producer credit on their album, more than likely. And with him, the connection that Max Siegel and Reggie White had, they both, Max made it, his promise, to keep his promise to Reggie White that he would go through and actually start the team. Which, fast forwarding until to 2009, Dad had found out about Max, and he was calling him
the Barry Gordy of NASCAR. I remember that also well. He was just ecstatic. I mean, to see African American trying to break down the long-awaited barriers of diversity in NASCAR. So salute to Max Siegel for that, because again, what's going on right now with Rev Racing you know, at the time may have seemed like a far-fetched idea in 09, but look at it now, look what it's become.
Yeah.
And can you kind of, since we're on the topic of Rev Racing, I know you just mentioned you got an internship with them currently. Can you kind of give them a backstory of how you really first got introduced to Rev Racing from your experience outside of course, Dad bringing it to your attention?
Yeah. It starts right there with Dad bringing it to my attention with Max.
Right.
It helped also too, of course, me being from Indianapolis. Max is from Indianapolis, and I believe like in 2008 or that same year, 2009, is when he actually took over Rev Racing, NASCAR University's race team. I wanted that's probably one of the articles we found. So,
I believe so.
That was my first time ever hearing about them. And at the time, they had a deal with BET, and they had this show called Changing Lanes.
Oh man, how can you forget about that?
That throwback gem. So I was tuned into the TV.
Google that, Changing Lanes,
all the
BET.
time. Not the movie Changing Lanes. There was a TV show, Changing Lanes. It was cool. It had Ludacris as the narrator.
Yeah, it was working together.
Yeah, it was.
I remember that.
Great.
We used to get together as a family, and watch this every week in our living room.
That was that.
It was dope.
Yeah,
I remember that.
So that's really what introduced me to that, and kind of gave me an idea of what I would be up against in the future, as far as if this was something that I decided that I would want to do.
Gotcha.
So once again, at the time, heavy drag racing fan, and that's really all I saw in straight arrow since birth, basically, as far as what I wanted to do. And Dad really was more or less like, hey man, you know, you can still do drag racing, just with this, you may be able to get a little bit further and be able to jumpstart your drag racing career. You can always do both. So it's okay. So, you know, what the heck, you know, I give it a shot. And then going from there, I want to say I met Max September 11th, 2010. The reason I remember that is because September 11th, September 10th, I cut my hair. So I used to have like really long, like twisties and everything else. And the day before,
I remember that. You
cut my hair.
You was crushed about having to cut your hair.
Oh, I cried.
Yeah, I remember that.
I cried.
If I'm not mistaken, I think I had a perm this time.
You did have a perm.
I did.
With Snoop and
Cat Williams, under 3,000. I remember them days. Yeah.
Right.
So, are you talking about, if I'm not mistaken, the award banquet where you gave your first speech?
Kind of fair.
Take me to that time, because I do remember Dad being extremely nervous. Naturally, it was your very first speech, and ladies and gentlemen, give it in perspective. I was a senior in high school at the time, and my brother's 5 years younger than me. So you're talking to a 12, 13.
Yeah, I was like 12.
Yeah, 12 basically 12 or just 12. I hadn't turned 18 yet, so I was 17 yet. So a 12-year-old giving a speech in front of a lot of people that can become a network opportunities. These are people that we've never met before, and it's a banquet. Like it was dressed down to. And I know, he looks really chill right now. I kind of wish I had known what the dress code was. I feel like I overdressed it.
I feel the same.
But nonetheless, it was one of those situations where everybody there, it was somebody. Everybody there was there for a major cause, a business, corporation. The opportunity was great. And I can only imagine being a kid in a room full of adults having to give a speech. Take me to that moment. How'd you feel that night?
I was just trying to soak it in. It's weird because, you know, you go to Conn Prairie all these years for the Indiana people who know what Conn Prairie is. It's like you're in this time warp, like going back to like, I don't know, like the 1700s.
Yeah, with the Quakers. Yeah, farmers, everything.
Making butter.
It takes you out of the city for a minute to show you what life is like without all the hustle and bustle of city.
Right.
But this particular night, Conn Prairie was.
It was a completely different.
Like a Met Gala.
It was. They set it up really nice.
Yeah.
It was my first time ever having like hors d'oeuvres. I hope I said that right. Hors d'oeuvres.
My man was at Conn Prairie with Steve Harvey.
Oh man,
Listen, we talking pinstripe down to the nines.
Oh man, we want to throw some photos up in there.
Oh, we got those photos.
Let them know how.
I'm gonna get the producer. Look, I'm talking. Just look. We got to do some research. Pull up the photos. They're out there. Pull them up.
As soon as we get them on there, So you look at the photo right now. I was clean. I just got my hair cut. I went to the bar the day before, and I went up there with the Ralph Tresvant sensitivity tape because I wanted my hair just like Ralph Tresvant.
I remember this.
I did.
New addition.
I didn't know it was called texturizer. So they're cutting off my hair and stuff. They left a little bit on the top like it is now.
Right.
And oh man, let me tell you, what was clean.
Man.
As Prime would say, as Deion Sanders would say, it looked wet when it was dry. I'll let it go right now.
Man.
It's the one when we on the table together.
Right.
Just,
we look like security. All right, like I can tell you how many times people thought we were security. Like they thought we was doing, coat checks.
Oh man.
Everything. It was great, man. So I'm pretty sure mom had to press my hair for that, for that particular day.
Let me tell you, it was silky.
It was nice and
silky. It was laid. It was nice.
Yeah, it was free beer and everything. I just had to go keep.
It was, man. It was. But getting back to the main ordeal. There was a lot of rehearsing. As far as what we wanted to say, because I remember Dad actually told me about the opportunity when we were down at the shop on the South Side.
I remember that.
And he was like, "Aren't you excited?" I'm like, "I'm excited. I don't know really how to act about it though, because it's okay. Speaking engagement, meet Max. Like, wow, we were just talking about this person, and now I get to meet him. Right. So it was big. So as the night got closer to that part, because you get there, do a little rundown of the show, let you know where you need to be. They thought it would be a good idea for when I present the award to get into my fire suit. So I was like, okay, and they wanted me to present Max with a already signed autograph photo of me at the racetrack. And that would be a nice little touch to throw in there. So I was like, okay, that's nice, that's nice. So they had me sign and everything. And when it came that time of the night, I slipped away from the table, went to the bathroom, and was putting on my outfit. I waited, and then they had me go in, and I killed it. It was amazing. I was having some trouble. I remember I stumbled over one or two words, but it was precise. It was great. Crowd laughed at all the corny jokes that I thought were corny. They laughed, and
it don't take much. I think it's not about necessarily how the joke is written; it's just how it's delivered.
It's how it's delivered. That's why I really have, not to get off topic, but I really have a lot of respect for comedians because it's all about timing.
Absolutely.
And letting stuff marinate on people. So I pay attention to them a lot as far as like
speech and
figuring out how I want to deliver certain things. So yeah, overall the night was amazing. So standing ovation, me and Max, shook up, hugged out. We got some more pictures of that, so we'll be showing that too right now.
On that one. Yeah,
it was great, man. It was storybook start to what we all have now.
Wow. Now we're taking that time right there to 2010. At that time, can you take the audience that didn't get a chance to witness this? Where were you at as far as your racing career when you met Max, and kind of break down the transition from each class? Because little people know there's a lot of different racing classes that you go into before you get into what they call a pro series or NASCAR, as far as the Sprint Cup series, the time they are now.
Correct.
So can you break that down for him? Because at the time you were racing in Bandoleros.
Correct. So
break that down for him.
As I mentioned before, I was a quarter midgets. Once again, snapshot.
There you go.
And then I went to junior dragsters, which is a smaller scale of the long race cars to, I guess I'm dumb it down, but simplify for people who may have seen it before, but it's a smaller scale. I want to say it's like 3/8 or so of the actual dragster.
Right.
And then that's when I made my transition over to INX Bandoleros, which all three forms of the cars I've named are developmental race cars for kids aging from the range of 4 up until... honestly, I've raced against a guy who raced in a Bandolero who was like 60-something. So grown people who raced in Bandoleros. And then talking about having a grown series or an adult series for junior dragsters. So
wow.
Yeah. So the age is
Wow. Wow.
Anybody at this point.
You know
But yeah, it's a very good way to introduce kids and even young adults get their feet wet in motorsports, and it's not as expensive. It can be expensive, but it's a good way of getting into it.
Okay.
Inexpensively.
And once you moved on from that, let us break down the next class you went into and kind of give me your experience on that.
We had some great success in the Bandolero my first year. 2010, once again, I think over the summer, we had a big front page paper with the Indianapolis Recorder. They came out and we recorded some stuff with them and did a full background and story as far as where I'm going, what I'm doing.
They sponsored the car, didn't they?
They did. They were a primary sponsor. Yeah. So every Friday when the newspapers dropped, I was usually in there when they had race results and pictures. Great photographer, by the way. Great guy.
We got you, buddy.
Exactly. So everybody at the recorder, I really do appreciate you in those early years and still even now. So I'm trying to think. And going forward from there,
right.
Once again, that Bandolero season, I won the asphalt championship for the state of Indianapolis or the state of Indiana. Also won the track championship, becoming the first African American to do so at the Indianapolis Speedrome. Trying to think. Also, too, of course, with the great year that I had, I was nominated by NASCAR Diversity as a Young Driver of the Year, and I actually ended up winning the awards. They flew me and Dad down to Florida, and I was able to give another speech. And now it's in front of, like, once again, I got to see Max. He was at my table.
Right.
And other big executives like Steve O'Donnell, Brandon Thompson. The list goes on and on, but I got to meet so many great people. I got to meet J.D. Gibbs, who, rest his soul, was a great guy, and I was so fortunate to meet him that day. But yeah, so that was huge. Got to meet Darrell Wallace for the first time down there, and visited my first actual HBCU, Bethune-Cookman, and I went down there and actually spoke again, which was amazing. You know, for once again, I'm still 12 at this time.
Man.
Well, actually, I'm skipping a year because 2010 was the year we started. 2011 was the year where I had all that success. So I'm sorry. 2011 was the year we had all that success, and into 2012 when we moved into INX Legends towards the end of 2011. Sorry for jumping back and forth. I'm getting old. But
I mean, that was almost a decade ago, believe it.
Exactly, that's so hard to believe. It really is. So, with the INX Legend cars, we moved up, and I ended up finishing second in the Young Lions division at the Indianapolis Speedrome. Once again, points.
Another great year.
So from there, I think we stayed in Legends until I was a freshman in high school then. So. It wasn't very long. It was like every year we moved up to a new car. I got my late model the following year in 2013.
Okay.
And we made a couple runs and doing some different things. All the while too. I want to say 2013 was my first year being accepted into the NASCAR Driver University, and that was the year that I actually got accepted to do their youth program in the Legend cars, and that was. Once again through Rev Racing.
That was in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that song. That was a great song.
So summer of 2014, we were able to, me and you, stayed for 8 weeks and competed in the now Bojangles Summer Shootout.
Wow, unforgettable.
At Charlotte Speedway.
Oh man, break down for them real quick. What was to you the youth program? What did it mean for you to get invited? Not only invited, but the opportunity to come down there, drive, and compete for 8 weeks. For those that didn't get a chance to see it, because back then we didn't think to film everything. We just talked about this over there. We should have filmed that whole summer. But let them know how. Just summarize your experience with not only with Rev Racing, just the experience you had with the Legends. competition? Talk about it. For those that actually go out there, you're going to do it. Let them know how it was.
It was amazing because the amount of things that I've learned while I was there during that summer was amazing.
It was.
So I had so many people take me under their wing, from Coach Phil Horton,
Coach Phil,
Booker. I'm trying to think. My other good friend, Enrique Limon. He was pushing me every day. He probably didn't notice, but I felt like I was in competition every day. I had to beat him to the shop. I had to be the first one in the gym. I had to be the last one at the gym.
This kid is driven. When I tell you, he was waking me up at 6 in the morning.
So we could be in the gym by 8 o'clock in the morning.
6 in the morning, people.
Yeah, and we live probably
in the middle of the summer. I'm out of school for the summer break, out of Ball State, and he's waking me up at 6 in the morning like it's a drill sergeant.
Like, we were down the street, but we was like far down the street from the racetrack or from the race shop, so it was probably like a good 15-20 minute ride. And of course we stopped for breakfast or something.
Oh, absolutely.
So
it was fun.
I had to be the last one out the shop, and it was like a really big eye opener, just as far as what went into being great in my eyes. Some more people took me under the wing. Devin Amos, who at the time I believe he was racing in the late model series, and Jay Beasley. He was racing in the K&N series at the time, and Sergio Pena, who was also racing in the K&N series. Some other guys were on the team at the time. I had some interactions with them, but we really never connected that much. But what's his name? Ryan. I can never forget his last name, but Ryan drove the number 2 car. That's gonna bug me. But Ryan, I remember your first name. It's Ryan.
You got Ryan. Ryan drives the number 2 car.
Yeah, he was the number 2 car in the K&N series, and Daniel Suarez was also on that team at the time.
Okay.
Yep.
That name rings a bell.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, he was in the Cup Series for quite some time with Joe Gibbs and stuff.
Right.
But it was so eye-opening that summer, man. I learned, like I said, it's still things that I incorporate now into everyday life, and even how I approach certain business deals, even how I am at the track. I used to be like so tense. As far as I couldn't eat at the racetrack.
I remember that.
I would be so nervous.
I remember that. Yeah,
I guess just so ready. And the real reason why I started eating, it was because they had so much food that they would bring us to the racetrack, and I was not gonna waste it.
I remember that.
So it would be Subway, McDonald's, Bojangles, all this food, and I'm like, I really can't eat. I'm watching everybody eat, and I'm like, it's free food and stuff. You really gonna turn it down? We starving. I'm hungry.
Right.
So that's really what got me out of that ordeal when I started eating before or at the racetrack actually. But yeah, it was just so eye opening.
So that was 2014. So for those that been following you post 2014, where have you been in those last 4 to 6 years? Where have you been? Outside of college, obviously.
Right.
Where have you been?
It still continues. So unfortunately, I didn't do as well as I would have liked to. Coming off of the summer shootout, stuff happens. It's racing, wreck cars. It was at the wrong place at the wrong time. So unfortunately, I didn't finish how I would have loved to have finished. Also, too, another guy took me under his wing. How can I ever forget? Daniel Hemrick. Congratulations to on you and Kenzie having a baby.
You stay safe out there. Congratulations.
I'm so happy everything turned out well for you guys. He was also a great help because he was winning every week. Every week, man. He was bad.
Okay.
He was bad to the bone. And yeah, I would go to him for a lot of advice as far as driving style and what I could do better, getting into the corners and stuff. So yeah, Daniel really helped out a lot. I usually tell him all the time because he usually forgets me, and I'm the guy who bought the 2-car late model from Neil and all those guys, and he's like, oh yeah, I remember you. So I always make fun of him for that. But coming off of that summer,
Right.
came back here, did some more testing in the late model.
Right.
Up at Anderson Speedway, Anderson, Indiana. And I believe I can't remember if I made my debut that year or not. I might have practiced a little more and not so much. But I know throughout the entire 2015, we raced the late model. But once again, we were able to race enough to where I was able to get an invite to the combine.
Right.
I wasn't able to go that year. I don't believe I went that year. It was 2013 I went. 2014 I applied, but I didn't get in. 2015 I got an invite, so I was right. 2015 I got an invite again for the combine and Langley Speedway in Virginia.
Right.
That was the last year they held it there. I think I was a senior that year in high school.
You was going to your senior year. Oh, was that
the fall?
It was the fall. Oh, yeah, right.
Senior in high school at the time. So in 2015, really that whole race season, it wasn't too bad. I remember a lot of days got rained out that Anderson had, unfortunately. So we were doing a lot of makeup races. Did a lot of stuff in the community. That my grandfather we had set up for us, or at the time, Owen Roper Jr. Helped out a lot with us doing stuff. He was a big guy as far as like wanting us to do stuff in the community, which I thought
salute on for that.
So appreciate you a lot. I know we don't talk that much, but I haven't forgotten. So moving forward to the 2015 combine was my first time actually being able to actually be the actual big ordeal of the combine. I remember they rode me with Dylan Smith, good guy, named Black Molly. Okay. So that was interesting. That was just so fun looking at it at the time. So we did okay. I definitely could have did better. Wasn't used to that style. Didn't realize at the time there were different types of late models as far as basically like late model stocks or straight road chassis and all this and that. So it was definitely a learning curve. And I basically got spoiled at Anderson Speedway with the high banks and then going to a flat track and, kind of willing it. And I was, even back then, I was iRacing and trying to get stuff in before I left. I think we even had it at the hotel. We couldn't connect to the Wi-Fi or something that night.
Wow.
So I'm usually always trying to train and be on top of my game, even for things like that. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to come back and be a part of the NASCAR team following the 2015 combine.
Okay.
So once again, came back to some more racing, and of course with high school and everything else, graduated, and I still had enough from the previous year. In 2015, moved in 2016, I got another invite to the NASCAR University Combine.
Right.
Which this time they changed locations, and it was down in Daytona, Florida.
Right.
And they had it at New Smyrna. And once again, it was for a late model position, and I feel like I overall did a real good job. Definitely some things I definitely would have done differently. I wish I would have been able to be more in tune with what the car was doing and be able to get better feedback.
Get a better feel for the vehicle.
Yeah, and so I remember around the time that happened, there was a hurricane that had hit the East Coast, because this is actually now going into my freshman year of college, because of course they always fall in the fall when they have the combine.
Right.
They had a real bad hurricane that happened, and it knocked down at the racetrack part of the grandstand, part of the fence. So they actually had to push the combine a week back. And
get everything together.
Yeah, so there was still a lot of debris. I remember we were walking the track before we actually went out and raced, and I remember finding debris of pieces of the fence and screws and bolts. So we're kicking them out and everything. But basically, what I'm getting at is, I remember I guess I must have rolled over something real bad, or I rolled over a piece of debris on my second tryout, and ended up cutting the tire. And it was a slow leak kind of in a sense.
Okay.
So it was slowly cutting down or going down. But I can remember feeling the car pulling to the right. And I remember coming on the radio, I was like, yeah, I know my times are off because the car is like pulling on like the toe out or what. So when we finally came in, that's when I found out I had a tire going down. So I just feel like I could have been better in certain areas moving forward. So there was that. Also, too, I also want to touch on this because once again, I don't know why I had the Tracy McGrady effect. And when I say that, I've had like so many different people like doubt my commitment to racing and me being a part of this. I don't know if it's because I'm very nonchalant at times and or just my overall demeanor. I've been trained to be calm at times.
So you don't show enough emotion.
At times, I guess not. So with that being said, going into that final combine, once again, I'm a freshman in college. I recently moved to North Carolina to be a part of the motorsports management program, and going into it, I had to find a ride to the airport, and I was flying to Charlotte. Winston-Salem was about an hour and some change away from Charlotte. So, of course, I had to find a ride, very last minute. I'm scrambling. So, of course, I had nowhere to stay. So, at the time, RA drove me all the way to Charlotte and dropped me off at the airport the night before because I had a real early flight. I rode out there and I had to sleep at the airport for the entire night. And it was on and off sleep. I remember that. And it wasn't even, now I think about it, it wasn't even Douglas Airport. It was a small airport. I want to say it might have been for the Legion and stuff. That's in Concord. But yeah, I had to sleep at that airport. I got up, caught the plane, flew down to Orlando, and I was basically stuck. And also, too, at this time, my phone broke. So I had no phone. So, like, I'm having to email my parents, and, like, I was using another good friend of my phone because she was the only one who had the same type of area code from my home state because nobody else was answering my phone calls. So there was that. And when I got down there, I remember I went to Starbucks and I had to load up on quarters to use a payphone. So I called back home.
The fact that you found a payphone.
Hey, I think honestly the only place you're honestly gonna find a payphone nowadays is the airport. There you go. So I looked out there and loaded up some quarters and called Dad and let him know I had made it. And then he told me I was gonna have to stay there like until the next day because he wasn't flying in until like the next day, like at 3 or 4. Which I landed like at 11 or 12 that day. So I ended up having to stay there for like 26 hours.
Wow.
So
talk about dedication.
I'm a fresh 18, man. This is my first time ever flying by myself. I have no phone. I really can't call anybody. I had to sell my homecoming packages. For the people who go to HBCUs, I won 2 free homecoming packages. I had to sell both of them so I could have enough money to make it down there. So,
dedication.
It's dedication. Once again, I'm not picking on anybody, but from time to time, I'm always challenged on
how bad do you want it?
How bad do I want it? Stuff like that. Y'all don't see behind the scenes.
Right.
As far as like a lot of that stuff. So I just want to share a story.
No. Hey, look. This is for them.
Because once again, even when I got back home, I didn't know how I was getting back to Winston.
Right.
So once again, like I mentioned before, I gained a lot of mothers and a lot of family when I was down there. A good friend of mine, her mom came through and ended up picking me up when I came back in town. So I really do appreciate her.
Man, that story just sounds, again, it's not only is it challenging, but it's inspiring.
Fresh 18 was my first time flying by myself. Like, and then I realized too, when I was at the airport in Concord, it was like 2 parts. So I was going to have to walk to the other part. And it was like far, like a mile in distance, basically.
Wow.
So fortunately, I was able to get a ride with a cop. He was real helpful with that.
Of course, for those watching, of course, if you're just not tuning in, this is Ty Slatter with GTA Sports. We're here with Walter Thomas III, WT3 Racing. Just getting in 101. Fresh graduate, Winston-Salem.
Yes, sir.
You know,
the illustrious Winston-Salem State University.
HBCU, in case you didn't know.
Yeah, now you know.
I know the viewers probably wondering, this lovely car behind. Of course, we'll have some pictures for you closer look. Introduce me to the car and tell them the illustrious story behind this beautiful blue car you have right behind us. I know you've been waiting. First time been on an interview, huh?
First interview. Man, I don't even know where to start. This is my baby right here. It is a beautiful 2004 Chevy Cavalier. This was the car my dad drove in the beginning of his career from 1999 until 2001. And this is really where the dream started. Of course, it doesn't look nothing like how it originally did at one time. And I'll show some pictures. But man, for years it sat as remains because unfortunately my dad wrecked it in 2001, and it just seemed like the years ticked off, and it just sat. And we, like I said, we referred to it as the remains.
Yeah.
And it sat in the trailer, and I did a lot of dreaming in this car, as far as just dreaming, being at the racetrack.
Okay, to give you the scenario, picture a little kid,
like 4 or 5, man.
A toddler, jumping in a frame of ripped fiberglass. This kid was so in love with this car, even though it was in shambles. Because when he flipped it, it wasn't anything what it looks like right now. This kid used to go in the trailer, no matter what time of year, the hottest of hot, the coldest of cold, would take the pieces of the remains, put it together the best in his ability, just piece together, and then sit in it all day, shifting gears. Car not going anywhere. But in his world, he was the man. It was his car.
Man, I get emotional thinking about it now, but
that was a long time, man.
And to see it back in one piece, like I say, every time we come in here, I don't know, it's like a dream come true. Cause it was times where I never thought it was gonna come back, and now it's back.
Yeah, it's beautiful, man.
It is. Because I get emotional.
I know. It's a lot, man. I mean, I don't know if anybody really got a chance to ask you, but like when you see this car and you tell your story, what do you feel, if you could summarize, what did your dad give you? What did he give you?
As far as the car,
overall, like what do you feel like the greatest gift your dad ever gave you?
Man, so many things. I definitely have to say the ability to dream. From those early years of me playing with the remains, it let me know it was like, man, no matter what's going on in the world, as long as like you're in tune with what you want to do, good, man. As far as like, I had a dream, I know what I wanted to do. I killed myself all the time. I've been fed up with school since like first grade. I've been wanting to get away from school since like first grade.
I feel that.
Because I've always wanted to race. Like even back then, I would get in trouble in first grade. I almost failed first grade because I would not do the work because I was daydreaming about racing.
I literally remember that. Like, and you know, to put this in perspective, you talk about a kid who obviously not only didn't like school, was failing in school, if you will. You know, to not even put it loosely, just keep it simple. To graduate, top of your class, dean's list every semester. From an HCBU. I mean, that's a great story, man.
Yeah, like I said, I honestly, I will attest to me being a part of racing. Definitely did help out academically.
It gave you an incentive.
It did. It gave me an incentive, gave me that drive, and then after a while, I just kept pushing myself to go further and further. As far as like, all right, I did this, last semester or just last year. Let me see if I can take it a little bit further. Especially, it definitely got that in high school and just carried me to college.
You go from being a third generation driver, the first in your family going circles. That's how that was.
Yeah.
What's next? School's over. No more classes. You got your degree, cum laude. You know what I'm saying? Got some, salute that. What's next? What's the next chapter? Are we NASCAR, NHRA? What's next?
It's a little bit of everything at this point. I really want to expand on my horizon. Like I said, I'm always thinking drivers first.
Okay.
I always want to drive. I've never like
that passion.
It's never going.
That's who you are.
But at the same time, I believe I also have different talents that I want to definitely be able to shine a light on in a sense.
Okay.
Once again, with having a career that's now almost spanned, I believe, almost 20 years, 18 years.
Put that in perspective.
Like, that's crazy.
He's not even 22 yet.
Exactly.
As of today,
I'm not even 22.
Still 21. And he's almost been racing as long as he's been living.
Yeah.
Put that in perspective.
So with that, I mean, I really would love to work with NASCAR in their research development department. They have a building in Concord where they actually, where there's big crashes like the one seen in Daytona earlier this year.
Okay.
They actually send the cars there and go through them and figure out how they can make them better and safer for the driver.
You want to be a part of that?
I do.
Okay.
I do, because I believe with my race experience and also what I've been able to learn throughout the years being around these cars all the time, there's always a room for improvement. And thinking from a driver's perspective, there's certain things I wouldn't mind, having my input on.
Hold that research, because you did mention earlier ownership. So if we were just hypothetically speaking,
Correct.
WT3 Racing.
Yes.
Is it possible we could see you in both NHRA and NASCAR?
That's the goal. Honestly, I've been doing different articles and interviews for school, asking me basically the same question: what's next?
Okay.
And I plan to actually race in the U.S. Nationals. It's held at Lucas Oil Raceway Park.
Legendary.
Hopefully in the sportsman classes. And I would love to also be a part of the K&N series, NASCAR series, and do some racing there. Also, as well as late model racing, the Will and All American series.
GTA Sports got to get that in, bro. We got to get that exclusive.
Definitely. Like I said, I really don't. Outside of this car, there's really no in-house cars nowadays. It's more or less I call them microwave teams. You just show up with your racing suit, gear.
They give you a car.
They give you a car and you're ready to go. Of course, as always, is being the biggest challenge. You know this from day one is always funding.
Right.
You gotta have funding and be able to play with the big dogs. You gotta be able to spend that big dog money. So if the money ain't coming from somewhere, you ain't gonna be playing. So it's a big thing. So that was another reason I wanted to go to school and figure out how I could be better at marketing myself. And through that, make it showtime.
What is Showtime? For those that don't know, what is Showtime?
Showtime is an alter ego that I wanted to create in order to help promote myself in a way that I possibly lack certain things. Like I mentioned before, with people always doubting about my commitment to
the Tracy
McGrady effect of things. Now, my close friends know what it means, and of course, family. So some would call it a rip-off of Prime Time from Deion Sanders. I've heard that a couple times.
That sounds like Mom told you.
Yeah.
That sounds like Mom talking.
But it's more or less, it's paying homage and also to just bringing together a lot of my heroes into one art form that I feel that is missing from the sport of auto racing.
It sounds to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're creating your own niche. You're creating your lane. Because NASCAR doesn't have a Deion Sanders right now. Doesn't have a Muhammad Ali right now. Just to name a couple of people, I know that you Mike Tyson. The people that I've seen you kind of like look at, study, just see how they interact with the crowd.
What's crazy is I studied Deion Sanders, Mike Tyson, Michael Jordan, Muhammad Ali.
Jordan was the next one, yeah.
just to name a few. I study all of them like I'm watching film, like to play football or something. I'm watching interviews. I've always watched certain blades of how to carry themselves, as far as like from Ali, his brashness. Of course, with Jordan, got that like that Rocky Eye of the Tiger type killer mentality. You know, same can be said about Kobe. So
rest in peace, Kobe Bryant.
Definitely, same. And Tyson, it's crazy to think that he can get himself into a certain mindset and just dominate and already win the fight before the fight even started.
The fight is won before he even touched the ring.
So that mental strength and that mental sharpness that Tyson had, and Mike had, and Deion Sanders, all of them had the game and/or fight in their hand before it even started. So tapping into that, and also at the same time as being entertaining. You want to put butts in seats. You want to be able to have a brand. You want to be able to get your point across and be able to back it up too. So with that being said, I know I have the talent to drive cars. That was never where I lacked. I always liked the fun.
I understand that, and I want to touch on that just briefly. Of course, we mentioned a little bit earlier, briefly about COVID-19. You shared with me off the air, one of the things you did in this time was read books.
Right.
Now, can you kind of let the world know, because we're still technically dealing with COVID right now, it's not quite over yet, sooner the better. But in the meantime, can you let them know some of the books, some of your like top 5 books that you read, if you have 5, top 5 books that you read that you would recommend that might help them, if there's somebody out there that's looking to find a way to improve, to reset, to re-engage, to be a better version of themselves once everything opens back up, once it's safe to come back outside.
Definitely so. As I mentioned before, mental strength is everything to me.
Absolutely.
Because you can attest to this, being mentally burned out or exhausted is worse than being physically.
It's almost impossible to get out of your own way if you're not mentally strong enough to fight through the hard times.
Exactly.
No question.
So the book that I'm definitely reading to help with that is The 48 Laws of Power. It's basically it's a book by Robert Greene. Who's also the author of another book that I'm reading, The Art of Seduction. I'm also reading another book. What they don't teach you at Harvard. More of a business savvy book. And then I recently bought a book on. It's basically a book, I can't remember the name of the author, but it helps also too with wanting to get started in stocks. So it's a book that is highly recommended by aluxers.com as a book to read.
What's it called?
The site that I got it from was aluxers.com.
Okay.
It's a YouTube channel.
Gotcha.
For future millionaires and billionaires. That's their tagline.
Okay.
But it's a book I got on there. I think it's from Tony Romo. I really can't remember the guy's name, but
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Tony Robbins.
Tony Robbins. Why is he running a quarterback?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Salute to Romo for that deal he got, being broadcaster, the highest paid broadcaster in NFL history. Congratulations, Tony Romo. He got it bad.
I really said Tony Romo.
Tony Robbins. I know he's talking. I can see his face. I see his face in the hair.
But he was a highly recommended book to read before you get into stocks. So that's on my next list of things to read.
Okay, and while we're on the topic of COVID-19, we know that the sports world was definitely put on hold amongst a lot of other people across the world.
Right.
When do you think, based on what you know, because we understand you're not really one of the movers and shakers, in DC that's deciding when to reopen everything, when do you think it'd be safe for NASCAR, NFL, NBA, the sports world in general to come back and be able to perform safely?
In full effect?
Just your projection.
It's hard saying. I know NASCAR is having their first race this weekend.
Okay.
In Darlington, South Carolina. I think it's with no fans, of course.
Right.
So I think everybody's kind of playing it by ear at this time, because we've also had other races that have been held, and once again, South Carolina for drag races with the SFG promotions, bracket drag racing series.
Okay.
Which I think they're still planning on holding their like first $1 million race this year. And then of course you've had places like South Dakota that have been holding races for dirt track and some other stuff, I believe. But as far as like getting back to normal, we're looking at next year. I totally believe.
I agree with that. I think we safe to wait till next year.
Yeah, and I don't think a lot of people. There's some people who will go out and whenever they say it's okay, they're going to be out there and doing everything as normal. But for the vast majority of people, I would like to believe that
2020 is a wrap. Just wait till 2021.
Yeah,
that's how you play. Just play it safe.
Yeah, I would play it safe.
I agree.
But I would like to hope too that the American people would too. Just for their own sake.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a thing where sports is such a therapeutic source.
It's an escape.
It's an escape from reality. So when you take that away, people have to deal with everyday life. But,
people don't realize they really don't like themselves and they really don't like their kids, their wife, everything else. I mean, it's very interesting to see.
It's a different world when you're not in sports.
Oh,
it's a different world.
Yeah. But it also shows you too at times how important things are. That we put so much emphasis on.
The word is essential. A lot of things that we appreciate in everyday life when it's normal isn't essential.
It's not.
I think that's what we're tapping into.
And even with that being said too, like it's sad that we're having to practice
social distancing.
Not even social distancing. It's like common things you would think like wiping down doors.
Oh yeah. The sanitize.
Yeah, it's hard to believe. You mean to tell me all this
pandemic
time
for them to really
all this time we haven't been doing this and practicing, washing your hands and everything else? I'm by far I'm not a politician. I am not somebody of a spokesperson.
I do like how some of y'all dress though. We need to figure out where y'all get your suits from.
Nah,
I ain't a politician either.
Yeah, but by the time it's sad. It's even more sad, not even with just, I guess, how bad people aren't like cleaning things, but that it took this for us to finally realize that the true heroes that, really, really hold it down for us.
The first
responders, your nurses, your doctors. I even go as far as saying, your garbage guy, your garbage people, your lawn care people, your grocery store people. Everybody from even your fast food people. Those people still have to work and through all this.
And put their life on the
line. And it took something like this for them to actually be shown appreciation. I'm glad they're getting shown it, but something like this, it shouldn't have been this far for people and teachers especially to get the type of feeling like this. Now, with that being said, once again, I'm not a politician. I'm not speaking for anybody.
Fair enough.
But it's a shame that a lot of these jobs, even in the warehouses, aren't, some of them aren't reciprocating these people who keep their businesses going.
They're definitely not being compensated for all that they're doing at this point and putting a lot online. You can't put a price tag on that. You can't put a dollar figure on that.
And it's showing a lot of people too. Some of their bosses either really care about it or really don't.
I've been on record saying we're gonna get a lot more. At least I believe when this is all said and done and dust settles, we're gonna get a lot more entrepreneurs or people that are willing to look into some of the books you mentioned.
Right.
To just see, okay, maybe I don't want to have a boss anymore. Maybe I want to be a boss, and maybe I want to put my family in position to be their own bosses.
Right.
I think things that people like Dame Dash, even Diddy at different times. 50 Cent's got a book out right now. Hustle Harder, Hustle Smarter.
Probably another one they're picking up.
You and me both, because the success that he's had outside of hip hop is phenomenal, unbelievable.
It is.
I do believe that we're going to see a spark, or I should say a spike, if you will, and more people willing to start their own businesses and actually go out there and take greater risks. Calculated.
Right. I would hope they're calculated.
Hopefully they're calculated. But nonetheless, no longer want to settle for the status quo.
Right.
I think we're going to see a lot more of that post-COVID-19, because I think some of us, this COVID-19 was the opportunity that they need to reset their lives.
Right.
The big reset.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's all for the good, and I'm hoping people just truly realize, how fortunate, and how quick stuff can be taken away from you.
Oh man.
So.
Oh man, I can say firsthand. It's nothing short of unbelievable. How easy a pandemic can come in and change everything.
I agree. I totally agree.
So with that being said, Mr. Thomas, is there anything else that you or Showtime would like to let the world know? While you have the floor?
Yeah, let them know. The show is just beginning. Honestly, I really cannot wait to see what me and you both do in this time after this. With the race car, going into now the real world of, employment and everything else.
Right.
I really am looking forward to what the future holds.
I agree with that. I think, for those who don't know, Dad's been gone almost not quite 2 years, about a year and a half.
About a year and a half now.
I do believe, and I've said this to my siblings, that Dad gave us all the tools we need to be successful. All we have to do now is apply them. And I mean that literally and figuratively. Just sitting in the garage right now and realizing that we're sitting on foundation. I do believe we're given everything we need to be successful.
Definitely.
And I think that the world, we have a lot to give back to the world for all the things that we have gained over time, the lessons we've learned, the gems that we picked up along the way. I think it is our duty in life to get these jewels back to the audience, to let them know that, look, never settle for nothing less than the best. It's something that Dad taught us, and I believe it's something that the world needs to hear, especially right now.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially right now.
Yeah, I couldn't put it any better, honestly.
Let them know where they can find you at. Keep you updated since you're not going to be on campus anymore. Well, let them know where they can find you.
I'll still be around, especially during homecoming. Y'all might see me with some shades, or y'all might see Showtime. I'm definitely going to see Showtime. No, but I'm definitely going to see Showtime there. You're not going to see Walter.
I mean, after quarantine for so long, you gotta step out.
Showtime is going to have a ball.
Okay.
And I'm laughing at myself on the inside because my friends are always like, why are you speaking like in third person and stuff? But of course, growing up with certain people like The Rock and Stone Cold, I have nothing but like third person quotes. So Rock says. So that's how I was going to blame for that.
Oh man, you actually put a time step on yourself when you said that. The people, those names alone, and the time that the attitude era, like they don't know nothing about that right now. What they doing right now, that
ain't true diehard. They don't know about that.
That ain't it.
Yeah. So as far as where to find me, as mentioned before earlier, on Twitter is at Showtime_45. Instagram at Walter Thomas 45, and you can also find me on Facebook, regular and fan page at Walter Thomas the third, Walter L. Thomas the third / Liberty 3 Racing, and also too coming soon will be a YouTube channel series. So
see now. We didn't talk about this in the brief.
This is exclusive.
I was gonna say, that's news to me. I didn't even know that. I'm his brother. I didn't even know that. So.
Exclusive. I'm really looking forward to that because I really want to get on like some Will Smith type editing.
His editing team is amazing.
I really love editing. So the goal is to have some type of split ordeal and have Showtime and Walter be two separate entities
on the same screen.
On the same screen at some point.
Wow. Well, first and foremost, on behalf of GTA Sports Network, not only do I want to thank your brother, I want to thank you, congratulate you, and wish you nothing but love and success going forward.
Amen.
Because you got to realize, ladies and gentlemen, I've watched this kid since he was 3 days old from the hospital with no skin tone or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it's pale.
Allows me a light bright.
Okay.
I don't know what happened.
I don't know, man. His melanin went overdrive.
Kicked in.
But it's all good. But again, to see you go from 3 days old, and I was only 5 at the time, to see you now, college graduate, Dean's List, cum laude, you're out in North Carolina, you living it up, chasing your dreams and running full speed ahead, man. I'm proud of you. And I hope that on behalf of GTA Sports Network, that you continue to keep us as extended family, keep us in touch with your endeavors, and we'll definitely be watching for everybody else.
So I'm waiting on the clothing to drop. Honestly, I've been wanting the GTA hoodie for the longest. I love my hoodies and sweats. Is that exclusive
to my team? Listen, get this man, get his size. Okay, we wear on the same size. Whatever I wear, get him one too. Yes. While we're here, I'm going to give a quick shout out to New Age Elements. Make sure you follow them because they are definitely not only a special team to check out as far as their site, naelements.net. They do have, I think we're in the spring, summer collection they just dropped. Make sure you check them out. Follow Magic Shots. She's a lovely team back there. Mira King's putting great things together out there. I'm pretty sure you're going to see some collaboration between Magic Shots, New Age Elements, and WT3 Racing. Oh, I'm sorry, Showtime.
Well, it's WT3 Racing at the end of the day.
Well, you changed the Twitter handle on me. I didn't know about that.
I changed it, yeah. It's even Showtime on Instagram. When you go to
I seen that, the diamond. I follow you on Instagram. So Twitter, I didn't know about the Twitter handle, but now I know where to find you.
Also, too, as you mentioned, the clothing. Also, to keep myself accountable since we're on film. I'm definitely going to be coming out with some gear, some racing gear. I'll have some more information when I find out something more concrete, but definitely be expecting some shirts, some hats, and also some hoodies as well to start out with. So that's awesome.
When you drop that, you know what's out there.
I do. I'm getting together the artwork now and the concept, so this is infancy, but definitely be on the lookout for that as well.
All right, man. Well, with that being said, it's Ty Slatter with GTA Sports. If you haven't already, you can follow GTA Sports Network, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, GTA Sports Net on the Twitter. This here has been GTA V-Check 101, Ty Slatter, Walter Lee Thomas III, aka Showtime. And until next time, you know where to find us. Peace.